Okay, so I just want to do a quick run through just on area. Now, the shapes that we have looked at. Okay, so I just want to look at finding the area of these different shapes. So the first one's a square. So the area of the square is like you do base times height or side times side or side squared. So one side's 5. That means this one here will also be 5 because they're equal. So it ends up being 5 times 5, which is 25 meters squared. Okay, if we look at this one, we've got base and height. So the area of a rectangle is base times height. So it goes 6 times 3, which is 18 meters squared. Parallelogram, base times height. So the area is base times height. So it'll be 10 times 8, which is 80 meters squared. Okay, this one here, we have the base is 20, the height is 6, and we have the other side is 10. Now this is a trapezium, so it's height on 2, or half the height, times A plus B. So it's going to be a half times 6 times 10 plus 20. A half of 6 is 3 times 30, which is 90. So it'd be 90 meters squared. Okay. Then we've got the kite and the rhombus. So that's going to be a half xy. And the x and the y are these diagonals. So that's the x, that's the y. So it's going to be a half times 4 times 8. So a half, you can put that straight into your calculator, but it's a half times 32, which is 16 meters squared. Okay, so let's have a look at the other shapes. All right, so first one we have there is the triangle. So the triangle, the area is a half base times height. So it's a half times 4 times 3, which is a half of 12, 6 meters squared. Okay, the other triangle, a half times 6 times 8. 6 eighths are 48. Half of 48 is 24 meters squared. Then we have the circles. So the circles, you need the radius for the area. The radius of this one, 10 divided by 2, which is 5. The formula is area is pi times radius squared. So it's pi times 3 squared. Okay, that equals 28.3 if you did it to 1 decimal place. Okay, so this one here, pi times the radius squared, and the radius is 5, so it's pi times 5 squared, which equals 78.5 meters squared. Okay, and the next one, so we put whatever the angle is over 360 times pi times 4 squared. So the angle is 60 over 360 times pi times 4 squared. And you end up with 8.4 meters squared to 1 decimal. Okay, so looking at this next one here, we have 2 areas here. So area 1, which is just the semicircle or half a circle, you need to get the radius. Now 4 is all the way across, so the radius would equal 4 divided by 2, which will equal 2. So that's going to be pi times radius squared, but it is half a circle, so you divide by 2. So it's pi times 2 squared divided by 2, which equals 6.3 meters squared to 1 decimal place. And then if you get area 2 is just a rectangle, so it's just base times the height. So that's going to be 4 times 3, and 4 times 3 is 12 meters squared. So the total area, you just got to take each of these areas, so area 1 and area 2, and if you add them together, you'll get the total area. So the total area would be area 1 plus area 2. So it's going to be 6.3 plus 12, which is 18.3 metres squared. Okay, so just looking at the next one, this one here, we have area 1 and area 2. So area 1, okay, that's a triangle. So it's a half base times the height. So the base is 10, because that's 10 there. If you bring the 10 up, so it'll be a half times 10 times the height, which is 5. So a half of 50 is 25 metres squared. Area 2. Area 2 is 10 times 6, which is 60 metres squared. And then the total area would be area 1 plus area 2, which is equal to 25 plus 60, which ends up being 80 metres squared. Okay, and finally this last one here, the doughnutty shape. So we need to get the area of like the whole big circle, and then we need to take away the area of the circle that's inside. So area 1 will make that area of the big circle. So it's pi times radius squared. So it's pi times 6 squared. And area 2 is a small circle. So it's pi times little r squared. So it's pi times 4 squared. Now, instead of subtracting two rounded off answers, if we just put in our calculator like that, it'll be area 1 minus area 2. So it'll be pi times 6 squared minus pi times 4 squared. And you end up with 62.8 metres squared.